Hey, gun people. Want to do this Texas shooting. More information's coming out from a lot of different sources. And again, I can only kind of give you what I'm reading and what I'm finding. So if this turns out to be, with new information, opinions change or the end result changes. But a lot of different information, and I'm going to go over some of the news comments that are out there and kind of do that. I'm also going to cover how government failed to keep a gun out of here with all the gun control they have, with all the rules and restrictions. This guy was still able to go out and buy a gun illegally. He wasn't authorized to have a gun. He was denied a concealed permit in the state of Texas. He was court-martialed in the military and given a discharge. There's confusion whether it's dishonorable or bad conduct. A BCD is right below dishonorable. So, a lot of factors in here. If you go to prison and you're in the military, you're a convicted felon. So this guy was a convicted felon. He shouldn't have a gun. He's posting it on Facebook. He's buying it in gun stores and all the gun control people. We need more gun control. Well, all the gun control you had, this guy shouldn't have had a gun. He broke the law by having a gun. He broke the law by buying a gun. He broke the law by using a gun to kill innocent people. How many laws are you going to figure out? It doesn't stop evil people. So let's kind of take a couple little comments here on this report here. 26 dead now, 20 injured. Gunman in full combat gear. What they're calling combat gear, he was dressed in all black, kind of like Antifa. He has Antifa ties. He promotes Antifa. So he was dressed more as an Antifa protester than full combat gear, all black. I don't know how many military wear full combat gear and dress in all black. But anyway, he opens fire on a service. He was court-martialed for assaulting his spouse and his child. He has sick Facebook rants. Of course, they seized his Facebook page and canceled it because they don't want people to know who he is. But that's another issue. He was denied a gun permit in Texas. He replied, and it was turned down, which is good. It means Texas was doing their job. The federal government, who did their permit when he bought a gun, wasn't doing their job. Shocker there. A lot of young people dying. I mean, what a coward to go in there. And they're calling this plumber that shot him a sharpshooter, or sharpshooting plumber. He hit him in a gap in body armor. Cops get shot in body armor in that gap a lot of times if they're running or turning. When you turn and you're moving your hands, your arms are up because you have a gun, or you're pointing or you're reaching for a car door. You expose the side of your body, and that's probably when he took a round. And then they chased him down because the cops failed to get there in time. The cops weren't there to stop him. The cops weren't there. Had this citizen not had a gun and was able to shoot him and follow him and tell the cops where he was, he would have got away and maybe killed more people. So don't kid yourself that government's going to take charge on what a great job they're doing and they'll be patting each other on the back. But don't fall for that. It was a citizen who was armed and prepared to defend himself and others that stopped this guy from doing more carnage, chased him down, and caught him and took him into custody. It wasn't government. Government came in afterwards, just like they always do, to claim all the credit and say how great they are. These two are the guys that caught him. This guy is the one that shot him, that had the gun. This guy was just a driver, a passerby. This guy runs up to him and says, hey, this dude just shut up the church. We got to follow him. So he jumps in a car, and this guy says, no problem. Let's go get him. So they both put their life in risk. They both chased this guy down the road, did good things, good citizens. Good people will always stop bad people. When evil flourishes, it's because good people do nothing. And liberals and the left love when people do nothing, and you have to depend on government to save you and to do everything. You should just be a good victim. That's the difference between conservative and liberalism, progressive, the left. It's all about being a good victim, whereas the other side is be prepared, take action, stop evil when you see it. These guys did a great job. Good for them. There's quite a few videos of this guy with a beard. It looks like he was Islam. One of the pictures really looks like he was practicing Islam. But, that's kind of here and there. He's still a deranged idiot that went out and shot like a coward innocent people. This is him without his beard. I've got some other pictures I'm going to go through. And this is from the AP. Instead of focusing on this guy being a left-wing, Trump-hating, Antifa, possible Muslim hating America type person, they want to bring up the Vegas shooting. Oh, look at that. Oh, Vegas shooting. Then they want to bring up the Texas shooting in Killeen back in 91 where some idiot ran his car through a restaurant and shot some people. And then they want to bring up back in the 60s in the University of Texas where the guy went up to the tower, that Marine sniper, Charles Whitman, climbed up and shot people from the tower, and he kills. So the liberal left wants to immediately get you off the focus of the hate from the left and the visceral anti-American hate that the left promotes, and they want to make it about, oh, look at all the other prior gun things. Man, don't fall for that crap, people. And again, another media saying this guy's sharpshooter, fired, took down the gunman. I mean, they're just saying sharpshooting because the guy hit his target, making it look like he had training. Or, I mean, look, this guy was a citizen who had a gun, and he took action, and he stopped evil when he saw it. And he wasn't a coward, pink panty, wanting to, hate on America and hate on gun owners and hate on Christians. And, oh, that's another thing of this guy. This isn't going to be a hate crime, but this guy didn't like Christians. He didn't like God. He was very anti people that believed in God. So, I think his wife and child is in there. I think as it comes out more, we're going to find out that they were the target. But we'll see. That hasn't been reported yet anyway. And they interviewed a guy that ended up chasing him down real quick, and he gives a little bit of a statement here on kind of what happened.
I saw the gunfire. The shooter got in his truck. The gentleman with the rifle came to my truck as the shooter took off, and he briefed me quickly on what had just happened and said that we had to get him, and so that's what I did. I just know it was all black.
All black?
And it was a pistol he was shooting. I can't tell you anything more than that. I don't know.
Okay, and what kind of car was he driving?
It was a kind of a pearl-colored Ford Explorer. We just take pursuit. We speed over 87 through traffic, and like I said, we hit about 95 going down 539.
So basically, he kind of just explains real quickly, giving a statement right after this event. Some things may become clearer because when you see a guy running up to you with a gun, tells you they're shooting, heart rate goes up, you go in that fight or flight, your body, you're driving, you're chasing. This guy's not, he's not a cop out there doing this every day, so this really got his adrenaline going up and his fight or flight going up, so his memory may be a little cloudy, or he may remember more later after the adrenaline and all that gets pumped out of him. And this Yahoo's reporting that he shot himself, and I think the sheriff ended up saying he did shoot himself and took his own life after he stopped the car and pulled over. So did he know he was bleeding out? Was he in pain? Did he, he's a big tough guy when he walks into a church with women and children and shoots unarmed people. And then as soon as he knows armed people, good guys with guns are coming, then he kills himself. Perfect definition of a coward. And good old President Trump hits the nail on the head again and isn't afraid like the rest of the politicians to support legal gun owners. And he says in a press conference down here, fortunately, someone else had a gun that was shooting in the opposite direction. And that's really key that the left media is not covering, that the cops didn't do it, the government didn't do it, the government failed by letting them get the gun, the government wasn't there to protect anybody. And if they had taken all the guns from the people like the left wants to do, this guy would have done more damage and more carnage, and nobody would have stopped him because he was already gone by the time the cops were only coming to the scene. He was long gone. Here's the post that the coward put in here. Somebody said, hey, didn't you have a beard? And he replies, not anymore, long story. And he doesn't elaborate on why he shaved off his beard. I'll show another picture here in a minute. This was an earlier news brief where this guy gives some information out that you may or may not have heard.
Was seen at a Valero gas station in Sutherland Springs, Texas. He was dressed in all black. That suspect crossed the street to the church, exited his vehicle, and began firing at the church. The suspect then moved to the right side of the church and continued to fire. That suspect entered the church and continued to fire. As he exited the church, a local resident grabbed his rifle, and engaged that suspect. The suspect dropped his rifle, which was a Ruger AR assault-type rifle.
Okay, this guy says it was a Ruger assault-type rifle. Assault is an action. It's not an object. I wish these idiots who are giving these press conferences would figure out, he grabbed his battery-type weapon. He grabbed his, I mean, come on. It's not an assault rifle. It's a rifle. The police carry it. The military carry it. Hunters carry it. It is a rifle. It is not an assault. An assault is an action that you do, not an object that you use. All right? This picture was posted that he was dishonorably discharged. A spokesman from the Air Force said that he had a bad conduct discharge. Either way, if you're discharging those two, you have to commit a crime and you have to be court-martialed. This guy did a year in jail in a federal penitentiary, and which makes him a convicted felon. So he's not authorized to buy or possess a gun. And the government and Facebook missed it with all their backgrounds. Texas got it right because they refused him a concealed carry, but the feds, go figure, they missed it. They'll be saying, if we only had more gun control, we could have stopped him. Yeah, okay. This is the coward making comments on a site. I guess it's Going Down is the name of the site, and evidently they're saying go after the far right conservative churches. Anarchy, let's get Whitey. Typical Antifa. This is showing his connection to the Antifa connection. This picture, I guess, is a copy of his voter registration where he was registered his name. It says his party is the UAF party. And the UAF party is Unite Against Fascism. Again, a far left-wing party that anti-American, anti-freedom, anti-everything that makes America America. And this guy who couldn't make it in the Air Force got his booted out and did prison, beating up his wife and kid, buying guns illegally, and somehow this is going to be the assault rifle fault. Oh, it's not an assault rifle. It's a rifle, you big dummies. Here's a picture of the rifle from his Facebook page with him and his kid. I don't know if this is the same rifle he used or not. Another picture of him different with his beard. Here's a picture of him, I guess, from high school. Angry teenager, I'm not sure what you call this, wearing the black. He almost looks like the guys that did the school shooting in Colorado. I can't think, but and another picture on his Facebook page saying his gun is bad. There's his profile picture, his name. Evidently somebody got a screenshot of this before they tried to clean it and sweep it under the rug so nobody would know. And lastly, I'm going to talk about some of the things that the media has reported. And I just took these straight copies from here. He was wearing black tactical gear, carrying a military-style assault rifle. Okay. Black clothes is not necessarily tactical gear. He did have a bulletproof vest on. Kelly was shot by Stephen Williford, 55, and died after the car chase. Now they're saying he shot himself, so that could be changing. He was court-martialed in 2014 for 2 counts of assault on his spouse and child. And normally military doesn't court-martial you for that unless it's continuous, it's very egregious, or there's been multiple cases. So for him to get court-martialed, that is kind of serious, and we don't know the details. The FBI, Texas Rangers, and agents of Bureau of Alcohol are all investigating. You know what? I think Texas can handle this investigation. I don't like that the feds always get their fingers in everything just because it involves guns, or just because they can somehow maybe connect it to terrorism, or they come in and they run all over the locals and then start pushing their federal BS, taking jurisdiction, all that crap. So I would love for Texas to say, you know what? Thanks, federal government, but we got this. Get out. But I doubt that's going to happen. Trump said the mass shooting at the church is mental illness. He's taking heat because he's making it about the idiot that did the shooting, and all the other politicians want to make it about guns and getting the guns, and he's not following their ignorant agenda of the career politicians on both sides of the fence. So he's getting heat for that. And then they talked to an Air Force official who identified the gunman as a mass shooter. 2012, discharged 2 years later, said he was court-martialed, 1 count of assault on a spouse and 1 count on a child. He received a bad conduct discharge and got 12 months confinement, reduction of rank. So he was court-martialed. That means he's a convicted felon. That means he can't buy a gun or possess a gun. Oops, your gun control didn't work. How can that be? Well, I know. The liberals will say if we only had more laws and rules, then that would have stopped him. Yes, sure it would have. And Kelly died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound, according to the sheriff. So evidently he took his life like the coward he is once he knew people with a gun were chasing him and coming after him. The gunman was dressed in military vest. We already did that. Suspect shot between the vests by the citizen. I think I talked about that earlier. The suspect mass shooting was denied a permit by Texas Governor Abbott. They say Governor Abbott denied it, but I mean, he went through the process and was denied. And I mean, maybe he appealed it and the governor had to review it or whatever, but the government doesn't necessarily has to review all gun permits. It's probably some political scam or whatever. Anyway, Kelly brought the Ruger rifle in 2016 at Academy Sports in San Antonio, but he indicated on the required background forms, those are the federal forms, I think 4487 or something, that he didn't have a criminal record that would disqualify him from purchasing. That was a lie. So he committed another crime because that form is signed under penalty of perjury, and you have to swear under oath that everything in that form is correct. So he lied on a form. He committed perjury by signing the form, swearing that it's true. He was a convicted felon. He wasn't authorized to have a gun. He was denied a permit from the state of Texas, and the federal background system that everybody tells us we needed, and it would prevent this, and it would stop it, and if we can just look into everybody's background, we can stop it, and they miss it. Another failure for the feds, and they're going to come in now and try to play the hero. Good for Attorney General taking a pro-gun stance. Attorney General Paxton said, the mass shooting can be prevented if more people carry concealed guns. Good for him. Not hiding from the liberal left anti-gun. It's the guns. It's not the gun problem. Bad people will find a way to kill. It's not the gun. They don't call for cars and knives and acid, and people are killing by all these. It's not the objects that the people use. It's the people doing the action. Fortunately, this is what Trump said. Fortunately, someone else had a gun in the opposite direction. Good for Trump. So we'll end it with this coward who went in and shot women and children who were unarmed with a gun that he purchased illegally, and has nothing to do with the gun itself. The gun didn't do anything. It's a tool. It's a piece of machinery. No more than the gun that shot him was a good gun. Are they going to call the gun that shot him a good gun? Oh, that's a difference between a bad gun and a good gun. I mean, it's a gun, and it has nothing to do with gun control, although the politicians will try to milk this. Hopefully you got more information about this. I'm sure there'll be more. Maybe some of this will end up being wrong. I'm just trying to give you one source to go to. I read a lot of articles and took a lot of excerpts and pictures, so hopefully you got a better idea on what's going on, and we'll end that there.